Have you ever wondered what it is like to be a vegan?
What they eat, how they live their lives. For amazing vegans, a vegan chef, an event manager, a strength and conditioning coach, a marketer.
From different cultures.
Share insights.
My mother, nowadays, she doesn't understand my choices. We're going out with family, friends. They care about alternative meals for me. And my mother, she treats me like I'm creating problems.
When I'm in a relationship, I have this kind of agreement that on my stove, I will not make meat alcohol.
100%
It's like no meat in my apartment.
Experiences.
And I have a large family and they're all very meat heavy, like they just love meat so much. And even though they know I'm vegan, they just don't think about it. It's never in their mind when we go for dinner. If there is a vegan option, they just don't care. So I always do the side dishes. And there was lots of instances where we like grilling and they would not get anything from me. But then if I accepted for just vegetables, they would put that with the meat on the same tray. And so I would just like end up not eating it and they feel like I'm just like too much.
Knowledge.
Casomorphine is something that keeps that young cow, the calf, coming back to the mother for more milk. And it has that same effect on us. That casomorphine makes us want to continue to eat cheese. It's within the casein protein within dairy products. You've got casein and whey. Within that casein protein, that's something that has an effect on us too. And it's more intense in cheese because of the...
Welcome to the Chicha Show, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to dive into the vegan lifestyle with four amazing guests who will share their insights, experiences, and everything you need to know about embracing this way of life. Let's get started.
So, hi, everyone. My name is Domitilla. I come from Italy. I'm half Brazilian. I am at the moment vegetarian for 13 years and I've been vegan for 1 year.
Hi, my name is Valerie. I am 29. I am vegan for 10 years. And I work in marketing in a production company.
Hi, I'm Humace. I'm 37. I'm vegan for 12 years. And I work as a chef in a vegan restaurant.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm 36. I'm from England. I'm a strength and conditioning coach. And I've been vegan for just over 7 years.
The Chicha Show.
Get up, get up, get up.
Let's do this.
Thank you guys for the introduction. Let's start with the journey so far. What inspired you to go vegan?
I was traveling and we stopped at a petrol station and I saw like a truck full of pigs. And before that, I never thought of veganism or like eating meat. And it was just super sad. They were like baby pigs, pigs' blood. It was just really ugly. And I like cried and people made fun of me because they were like, you're one of these people who's contributing. And since then, I just like stopped and then more educated myself. I realized that I can't even like do dairy and just, went vegan.
Since I moved to Warsaw, I just started to meet up a lot of people, vegetarian and vegan, and I was so curious about it because at that time I was studying social sciences and I was like, what does it mean to be vegan? Like, I need to experience that to know for sure. And that's why I became vegan. For me, that was the first element, like curiosity, why people are turning vegan. And is it possible? Like, is your body will tell you that you're doing something wrong or next day you're going to feel sick? It's just all about the experience. Of course, from one side, you have your health. From the other side, you have animals, environment. So you need to think about all those topics. And you can choose like what's the most important for you if you are going vegan. But at the end of the day, the most important is to be vegan.
I was living in Thailand at the time and I'd had talks with a girlfriend at the time who was vegetarian. Being in the fitness space at the time as well, I was very much like, you can only get protein from animals. I then realized that wasn't right from her. She taught me a lesson. When I was living in Thailand, I moved towns. And the first night in my new house, I didn't know at the time, but it was about 50 meters from a pig slaughterhouse. And they did their killing at night. So all I could hear overnight was pig squeals and the sound of death, basically, as they were killing pigs all night. So that night I'd said I'd go vegetarian. I didn't know what veganism was. I was vegetarian for 3 years. In that time, I moved back to the UK, learned about dairy and eggs and the way in which we get food that is dairy and food that is eggs, and all the processes behind that. And I thought, like, I'm still a hypocrite. I feel like I need to make the next step. So I went vegan Christmas 2000 and whatever it was, 7 years ago. 2017, yeah.
Actually, I decided to go vegan for a year. So this is where I started. Basically, a few months after I moved to Copenhagen from Italy. And before that, before to change my diet for good, I started to be interested in like different products, more respectful towards the environment and stuff like that. When I came in here, I've been like, I got in touch with my landlord at that time. And I was sharing my thoughts about changing some flowers, some products, like going for the whole one. And he told me that he was fructarian, that it's even worse, let's say, than being vegan. It's even more difficult. And he gave me a book to read. He told me, I'm going to give you this book. I would like you to read it. And so I did. I found it really, really interested. And I can basically say that this book changed my life. So it really changed my way to think. I got close to the veganism because of my health. I need to be honest. I started with my health. I understood that whatever it was coming, this is at least my opinion, and Harold Ehret, his opinion, the man that wrote the book, The Diet Without Mucus. I don't know if any of you know about it. So he was basically explaining how products coming from animals were basically damaging our bodies, like creating films around the stomach, like preventing vitamins and nutrients to be absorbed by the body. So I got impressed, and he was also promoting the fasting. So I also started fasting. I went like really into it. I was so curious to find out new ingredients, new recipes, and to me has been like really fun for a year. And then I started like to feel that I was missing mostly the cheese. I'm Italian. Cheese is like a really important element in the regular diet. And I just decided for myself, I wanted to do something for myself. Then I also love animals, and I started to, I think it's a consequence. You start to embrace like the cause at one point. I just show myself that I can live without causing harm to like living beings, basically. I don't need that. People at the beginning will tell me, you're not going to survive without meat. You're going to get sick. I mean, I'm here 13 years not eating meat, so this is absolutely not true. So I started slowly reintegrating like cheese. And after some time, I started to eat eggs again. Even if I need to say that even nowadays when I'm cooking, sometimes I feel disgusted by raw eggs, but I eat it.
Thank you guys for sharing. What was the most challenging part of transitioning to the vegan lifestyle?
In my case, it started 12 years ago, and at that point in Poland, there was no vegan options like we have nowadays in the store. Like now I can go and buy soy milk, almond milk, oat milk, whatever. At that time there was water and cornflakes. So that was challenging, just to take a risk and to change the way of your thinking, like how do you cook regular food? Because when you go vegan, you cannot replace the same dish at the beginning, at least, because you have no knowledge. So you just need to find out how to stop eating and stop being nutritious for yourself. Like replace the meat and like look at your plate as proteins, carbs, and then it's going to be easier.
Yeah, similar, I think. But I mean, many people who go vegan, I feel like they also become like foundation level nutritionists, because you do have to relearn how to eat many things, and you do care about. I feel like vegans care about more about what they put in their body, because they have to find that source of nutrition, or they have to learn about that source of nutrition. But yeah, to add to that, I think that beyond food, that was the hardest thing to learn. That I still had a leather belt, and I didn't know that faux leather was a thing. Or, for instance, one of my best friends, he got married soon after I went vegan, and his choice of our tux had 37% wool. So like, how do I then converse with him, or how do I then ask him, like, is there another option that I could have, or something that doesn't include like an animal product? And then I think the biggest shock for me was learning, and it took a couple of years, learning about vivisection, which is animal testing, and just how many products on supermarket shelves or whatever have been tested on animals. And that was including things that I continued to use even as a vegan, not knowing that in order for that product to be, thousands of animals have died for me to have that product. And there are alternatives to that product that didn't use animals, but I didn't know.
I need to say that I never felt it difficult because I chose it. It's not something that someone asked me to do. I decided, I chose to do it. And as I mentioned a little bit before, to me has been like really thrilling, because I was like getting to know a lot of new things. And I've been watching documentaries. Some of those I couldn't because I'm also a bit sensitive. By the way, I found out many ingredients. So to me has been like fun. And the challenging thing for sure has been like, I just moved in Denmark for 6 months, and I had to go and find vegan products to the supermarket, where like I was completely like not used to Danish. So maybe this was like the only challenge. The rest, to me, to be honest, has been fun. I just had fun, really.
I think at the start, because I was like 17 when I turned vegetarian and then immediately like vegan, I just had no nutritional knowledge. So I was really struggling with, first I lost a lot of weight because I like skipped dairy, and I think I was eating a lot of dairy before. And then I thought I can just eat anything. That's how veganism goes, because I was like losing weight. So I started to eat a lot of like processed food, like French fries and stuff like that. And I gained a lot of weight, and it was like a long journey for me to figure out just like what a protein is and like what do I actually need to eat. And I also got into a journey of like reading a book every morning and learning about every kind of legime that's out there. And I think it was just, yeah, I loved that I went through that process.
And did anyone ever cheat when you guys started?
You just love this one.
It's a good question. Did anyone cheat?
I have never cheated. I have had moments when somebody lied to me about what I'm eating. Like my own grandma, for example, several times, which I like cried over afterwards, and I felt really, but I mean, that's just like how it is. But yeah, no, I never felt the need to cheat, because as she said, like we've chosen this, right? So,
Okay, if I can say something, like if like by cheating you mean have you been eating meat or fish? That in my case I never been eating fish because I never liked it. So even for a small part in my life I've been like eating sushi, raw tuna and salmon, but in general like I never been like no fish. Actually, I've been eating like in these 13 years. It happened that like I tasted something because also I chose to do it. Like I don't want to label myself to make myself feel guilty if for one time I want to taste something. For example, like once I was like for holidays in Azores, like the Portuguese islands, and there was something like special, like a special dish in the island. It was this like burned salmon, skin burned salmon, something. As I repeat, I never ate fish in my life. I got curious. I wanted to taste it. It was just out of curiosity. So I did order it. I had a bite and I didn't like it. I didn't feel like I cheated. In that moment, I wanted to taste it, and I just allow myself. I still want to be a free person to choose what I want to do. And I don't eat meat and fish because I don't like it or I don't want it. I don't need it in my daily life. Maybe I can eat something every 3 years. I'm not going to feel guilty, to be honest. No.
I want to add, my grandma occasionally bakes something, and she uses like a free-range chickens that her friend has. And I make the exception to occasionally eat that because I care for my grandma. But it's literally the only moment I would eat something that's not vegan, and I try to avoid it as well. But if she like baked it for me and then you see her face and I'm like, I would just like eat it. Also, I feel like egg is if it's a happy chicken, I don't actually disagree with eggs fundamentally because they would just happen by default. So it's a bit different to me, but I never eat eggs or buy them like that.
Yeah, but even in this case, when you eat the cake from your grandmother,
Mm.
it's not that you're like by this action you're stop being vegan, because being vegan is the lifestyle and then your everyday choices.
Yeah.
So
But I do feel a little bit guilty, doing that. I feel like it's a
Of
balance. Like I
course.
don't want to feel guilty for everything, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm like, I'm scared of people then coming and questioning me and then questioning veganism as whole because
Yeah.
people do that for some reason.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That you shouldn't let people judge you.
No,
It should be
I'm
like
aware, yeah.
something.
But
in
then there's like
yourself.
feeling when you're like, did you guys cheat? I feel like there's something in it that
Yeah.
non-vegan people kind of are after, and then they call you like, you see.
Yeah.
Do it for the others. You do it for yourself. So
Yeah,
people
100%. Yeah.
thinks differently all the time.
But at the same time, I feel like there is this need of like, I wish that people could look at me and think, okay, it is possible. You can be like healthy, happy, have everything. So be kind of an example to motivate others, right? So cut it out, actually. Just kidding.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Let's proceed to the some myths and stereotypes. There's a myth that vegetables and fruits improve your sexual stamina and give you a longer lasting erection. For guys, I think. I think I've heard that myth. I think I've heard that myth. How is it? How was it in your individual cases? Did you notice like any differences?
Can I just start by saying that at the moment there seems to be, I've seen it on social media a lot, that the carnivore tribe have turned that around so that it now their favorite thing to say, it seems online, is that vegan men actually struggle with that, and it's like a total myth, like as you say. So I'm glad that you brought this up because I feel like that's very important for people to know that that is an absolute myth. There is no science to back what they're saying up, but there seems to be foundational science that backs up our
Going on vegan diet, lots of people do miss the nutritional part, so they end up eating lots of carbs and lots of maybe heavy things that can like kill your libido, I suppose. But so I feel like if you do turn vegan and you go healthier, sure, then you're probably gonna have a higher sex drive than you had before if you ate like unhealthy food, right?
Sorry.
Which could maybe be where this myth comes from, or I don't know. But
I would also say that if you are feeling better and eating better, then that also adds to confidence.
Yeah.
And so men in that way would probably be more confident to perform.
So you're basically saying it doesn't really depend on the food whether you're vegan or you're carnivore.
No, I think that scientifically, like, there's not enough evidence to suggest that it does have a difference. It's just if you eat healthily or eat unhealthily, then you're much more likely to have boners all day long.
then a diet, in my opinion, like exercising is probably having a higher impact on your sexual drive than the food, in my opinion. But,
Yeah, anything that boosts testosterone, right? So healthier lifestyle, more exercise, less stress, less cortisol, etc.
What's the funniest thing someone has asked you about being vegan? Or most bizarre?
I guess like questions like, "Are you part of a cult?"
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the "how do you get your protein" is like, I
Basic.
feel like we hear that all the time, but
Yeah.
it still gets asked now. Yeah, but it's easy to get 150 grams, 200 grams of protein on a vegan diet, you know. And another thing I think in that space as well is people like to, or people have done in the past, suggest that, oh, veganism doesn't work because you still use protein powders and creatine powders or whatever, right?
What do you want to say?
No, I was going to say, when will you stop being vegan? I've heard a few times. As in, like, when's the cutoff?
Will you
Like,
stop
how long
being
have you been
vegan?
vegan for?
Yeah,
7 years now.
yeah. So the worst thing, like, the worst thing is something that's just, a shot.
I actually agree. And I feel like this cheating part, I think every single person who's non-vegan and I have like met a new friend would ask me that. Like, do you sometimes feel like it?
Yeah.
Do you like want to try this? It's like, oh, it must be so hard. And I really do not feel like it's hard ever. Like, even if you all were eating meat here or like whatever is delicious cakes, I couldn't care less. Like, I'm fine to have water if you're eating animal products.
How do you deal with the classic but plants have feelings too?
Well, plants have feelings too is inaccurate in every possible way. So, plants don't have a brain or a central nervous system. They react to stimuli. So,
What?
sorry?
Just kidding. I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah, what? Really?
Mm.
So they don't have feelings, they don't have sentience, they don't love the next tree.
What if they were doing that and we didn't know?
Because there is like studies that trees communicate, right? And there has been also studies done where I have once been in like a heated discussion about this with someone who believes that plants have feelings. And there has been study done where somebody has been shouting at a plant constantly for a certain period of time, and then the plant just died, but nothing else has been done. So there was no interaction with the plant, just that. And like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot we don't understand. But I don't think, as like you say, the pain and like maybe the reasons why we're vegans is the pain that we are causing to animals. Like, I don't think that plants, or as of current knowledge in the world, plants do not have that kind of feeling. So
The weirdest vegan misconception you guys have heard?
Oh, well, the classic one being that meat. Why do vegans eat vegan alternatives to meat? That is a very common question, and I guess from an uneducated perspective, that might be quite a good question to ask. But most vegans, I don't think, maybe apart from yourself, they didn't give up meat or animal products because they didn't like the taste. They gave it up because of the process before that, right? They didn't want to contribute to the animal cruelty, or they didn't want to contribute to the environmental impact or whatever, right? Yeah. So.
And also the thing is that there are not many people who are born vegan. So if you are turning vegan, you just want to go back to the taste that you had in the past, and that processed food vegan meat alternatives are giving you. So that's why people are producing now vegan bacon, vegan salmon, vegan chicken, vegan burgers, because in
It's
your
comforting,
mind,
right?
you just want to go back to that taste, but you don't want to harm animals.
I also feel like the nutritional misconception of like people thinking that you just can't get all the nutrition that you need from a vegan diet, and maybe like with B12, that's often the argument. And there are people who do need to supplement B12, but so do meat eaters, and so are the animals that are being fed to meat eaters. So it's just like I feel like there's lots of people. Yeah, there's just like not enough information spread across carnivores.
Like cows should be producing B12 naturally in one of they've got 4 stomachs, I believe. I think one of their stomachs should be producing B12, but because of the way that we farmed cows, for instance, they don't produce enough B12 for themselves now. So that transfer from, a cow then becoming on your plate, you won't get enough B12 from that cow.
Or
right?
like they're giving the supplements to
That's
the
what I
cow
mean.
because even the cow needs it herself. And
And the same for chickens and pigs.
And then how like people are so concerned about what we're eating, and yet they're eating meat that's like fed with all these antibiotics and all these things. I'm like, it's interesting.
You should see vats like this with B12 written on it in farms all over the place. I've seen it in the UK. We're apparently known for high welfare, but
no longer, no.
never was never.
Actually, I don't really miss the taste of the meat, and it's something that I'm not looking for. From time to time, I buy vegan burgers or sausage. I eat whatever is vegan that I find at a supermarket. But sometimes it's just easier, like to prepare. Junk food. It's easier for everybody. You just warm up something that it's already made. Of course, like I try to don't buy it that often because still it's processed food. So since my first choice is like to take care about my body, also like be eating vegan food, but that it's processed, it wouldn't be like healthy. But like me personally, I'm not looking for fish and meat. I chose to go back to cheese from vegan because I liked it, and I'm gonna stay here. I'm happy like this.
I also feel like cheese is the one thing that's like really difficult to replace in the vegan diet. The meats can be very accurate taste-wise.
That's the thing that goes just beyond. Sorry, that goes beyond it just being the product. Like cheese actually has casomorphine. Casomorphine is something that keeps that young cow, the calf, sorry, coming back to the mother for more milk, right? And it has that same effect on us, and that's as humans as well. That casomorphine makes us want to continue to eat cheese. It's within the casein protein within dairy products. So you've got casein and whey, and within that casein protein, that's something that has an effect on us too. So, and it's more intense in cheese because of the fermentation process. Or
Wow, I didn't
something.
know that.
Yeah.
Never heard it neither.
Cool, but kind of
stuff, Matt,
scary,
yeah.
right? It's,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
really
it is
good,
addictive, right?
yeah.
Actually has been the contrary for me, because when I was a child, I didn't like milk. I didn't like cheese. My mother was forcing me to drink milk. I already knew that I didn't want any. And then after, like, when I grew up, I was already maybe almost on my 20s, then I started to eat cheese. To me, it has been like a weird process because I didn't like it before and I started to like it later. When then I decided to, weird.
Let's move on to food adventures, guys. What's the best vegan dish you've ever eaten, and where was it?
We were marked on the app Happy Cow that we have the best vegan carbonara in the world, like 5th place in the world,
Wow.
right
Wow.
here in Copenhagen. So maybe this is worth to try.
Okay, that's cool.
Why not?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I am sold. Easy.
Like everyone was saying to go to Bistro Verde when I first moved. I've only been here 4 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
What about ARC? Have you heard of ARC?
I have, yeah. It's
Yeah.
opposite Landbegariat. I don't know how you say that, but
I don't know.
the
what
vegan
bakery.
bakery, or mostly vegan bakery.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, you're right.
It's amazing.
Mm.
But yeah, Arc is opposite. Yeah, anyway. But Bistro
been to
Verde was the
Arc.
Yeah.
first place to.
I worked at ARC before, so I'm like,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I'm watching for them.
Yeah.
Lots of nice dishes there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Were there any epic kitchen fails while you guys were experimenting with the vegan recipes?
Yeah. I used to have a food business in the UK, vegan food business, and always came across issues. I used to make. Do you know what seitan is?
No, tell me about it.
So seitan is based on wheat protein. It's very high in protein.
Pure gluten.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. You can add flavors to it, like you can add spices, you can add liquid to it to produce varying forms of textures and flavors and mimicking different kind of meats. Do you make
Yeah,
seitan?
totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
so
a very natural supplement from meat, I would say, compared to like the
It's
other
great.
processed products.
Mm.
You can like
Mhm.
make it at home, and
if you can stomach gluten, then
Mm.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And you have a good quality
and it's really nice.
wheat gluten.
Yeah. Or-
But yeah, like that, I don't know. Again, you can go through research and development phase for like 1, 2, 3 months making the same product in different ways. And I mean, I definitely made some awful chicken fillets with this stuff before where it comes out all spongy or, and you're like, oh, this is costing me a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the money part also because like it's
Yeah.
expensive, and
Yeah.
I've been making lots of cakes in the past, and it's like I'm always the person who brings a cake. Also, if I want to have a cake, I have to bring it, otherwise there's not going to be a vegan cake. So there's lots of these like experiments where I don't want to. There's not many vegan products in Denmark. I feel like the selection is very limited to other countries. So for example, like a cream cheese, you just don't find it generally in the grocery store. So if you want to make a cream cheese frosting, you can't do that. So you have to make it out of cashews, out of other products. So it's like you would make a kilo of this cream and you have to keep adding ingredients because it's just not the right consistency. And then it all just like, it's just not working. And you have a cake that's all like falling apart and you spend like hundreds of kronas on it. It's not even good. So I had a lot of those, like a lot of those.
All right. If you could veganize one dish, right, which is non-vegan perfectly, what would it be?
A cheese.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Like
It's
aged
not a
cheese.
Yeah,
dish,
like
it's a
good cheese, yeah.
product, but I would choose cheese as well, for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had some incredible aged cheese in the UK. I think I haven't tried them because they're very expensive in Superbrugsen.
They're not good.
Cashewery.
I even once I drove across Copenhagen to buy someone's homemade fermented cheese. I spent I think 200 krona on like this round of cheese, and I was so excited, and it was just like
Oh no,
not
No.
great.
I'm
Like
so sad for you.
yeah, but I mean like in the UK, you're right. There's lots of people. There's a lot more experiments going on, so people can get there. I tried once in France in like a vegan restaurant that had few cheeses that were very nice, but it was genuinely the only time I tried something that was remotely reminding me of cheese. Otherwise, like all the cuts you buy in the grocery store, like I just would not buy personally. So yeah, cheese.
Yeah, fair.
The people are voting for cheese. What should we do? But I did hear the replacement for cheese is tofu, right? Is that what you guys use? No?
You can get
No.
soya based, so tofu is soya based. You can get soya based cheese. I mean, I don't know about here. Again, I'm very new here.
I mean, I think when you make like a palak paneer, like Indian dish, like a spinach dish that has normally paneer in it, which is like a soft cheese, I think then you can maybe use tofu because that's what Indians do as well. But normally tofu does not have any same properties as a cheese has. So
Have you ever used silken tofu for like a cream cheese?
Yeah, of course.
So yes.
Yeah, right?
So silken
Uh-huh.
tofu you can get varying like I don't know how you would say
yeah,
like hardness level.
hardnesses, yeah.
So you can
Yeah,
get super
silken-
Consistencies, I don't know.
firm, and then you can get silken tofu, which is very soft tofu. If you blend that up with some ingredients,
Nutritional yeast.
You can come up, you come up with something, right? And that's basically what the question is about, like trying to veganize a non-vegan thing, right? Adding ingredients on top of tofu to make it look like cheese.
I wouldn't say it either,
Yeah.
Like, make very nice things. They're just not gonna taste identically like the original ingredient, right?
yeah,
I
and they're
think
tasty
cheese.
in their own right,
Yeah.
rather than
Like I
you
had
know.
great like cashew cheeses on pizzas, and they were nice, but they were just not cheese. So I feel like that's also where people get really disappointed if they're trying vegan food and they have this expectation of a something, and it's just not it.
All right. One important topic that needs to be addressed is cultural and social dynamics. Have you ever faced any awkward moments at family dinners or events because of your veganism?
Okay, first of all, my mother, she never understood why I'm vegetarian. She doesn't even understand the difference, as like many people, between being vegan and being vegetarian. People get so confused. Like I've been vegan for 1 year. I'm vegetarian for 13. And people that know me for a long time, when they see me eating cheese, they still ask me, "Weren't you vegan? Why are you eating cheese?" So at one point, people start to label you. And this is it. You have this label on your forehead. My mother, nowadays, she doesn't understand my choices. She doesn't really get it. So to her, it's just like being complicated. When we're going out with family friends, sometimes like they care about like alternative meals for me. And my mother, she treats me like I'm creating problems because I'm not eating meat like the normal people.
I think the most awkward was when people are asking, where do you get your protein, or why it's so problematic for us that you are coming here and we don't know what you will eat. And I always respond like to my family, I'm a chef. Just let me into the kitchen, because in your fridge, you don't have only eggs, cheese, and meat. You have all the ingredients. You just don't know how to use them. So
True.
let me in, and I'm going to prepare the dish for myself.
I feel like there's so many that I can't really.
Okay, give us the best one, the most awkward.
I've played football all my life, and within a football team, it's very strange, I guess, for anyone to be a different way from this only way. So, being a vegan within a football team, like the food afterwards, for instance, it'd be very hard for me to join in. So I guess that would be many examples, and then the questions start, or the myths start or whatever, and then you feel like you have to have a conversation with people about their food choices over their food, which is always the hardest thing to do. I'd rather if I'd had to have a conversation about vegan food or non-vegan food versus vegan food, I'd rather there wasn't the food there, because if I was to say something that then triggers, say for instance they have, I don't know, like a pizza with cheese and meat on it, and then I'm telling them about how they managed to get that cheese and meat to on their pizza, like I'm only gonna feel like I've guilt tripped them. You know, I don't want them to like stop eating because of that conversation. I'd rather them go away and have a think about what I'd said or whatever, and then after that, then make the choice to maybe choose a different type of pizza or whatever.
Honestly, like I'm scared to get into these conversations with people altogether. Like the other day, somebody was asking me, and the girl was like really pushing, and she was wrong with all her opinions. She didn't know anything about how animals are coming to the world almost, and I was just like, can we just not have this conversation, please? Because it's just gonna be negative, and you're gonna be like, you're just gonna feel shit after this. So I don't want you to feel that way. But I had like a family. I know I have a large family, and they're all very meat heavy. Like they just love meat so much. And even though they know I'm vegan, because I've been always vegan almost, and it's just they always like they just don't think about it. It's never in their mind when we go for dinner. If there is a vegan option, they just don't care. And I've also kind of just got used to it, so I always do the side dishes. And there was lots of instances where we like grilling, and then they don't grill my thing first, and then they think it's just all right to put. They would not get anything for me, but then if I accepted for just vegetables, they would put that with the meat on the same tray and couldn't understand that I don't want my vegetables to be marinating in the gravy from the meat. So I would just like end up not eating it, and they feel like I'm just like too much over that, and I like it's really upsetting actually.
Yeah, it is, right? It's sad sometimes. How do you navigate relationships with non-vegan partners or friends?
I don't have a problem with that, I would say, because this is your own choice, and I treat myself as a vegan educator, I would say. Like I'm showing people the path, like I'm inviting them to my place and I'm cooking, I'm showing them that they can eat like that, like this is the lifestyle, and if they want to learn how to go this way, I'm there to help them.
Yeah, 100% the same. Like I never judge people. In my head, sometimes I do think people can be hypocritic with their opinions, but I also feel like we all have our paths, our reasons, our like priorities, and I think it's completely fair that some people just don't find this to be the priority for them.
Also never been demanding my partners like to embrace my cause, but actually in a couple of relationships at the end my partners they became vegetarian. Like I didn't ask them, but they just found out that like it was easier to
Is it
prepare
because
a
you were
meal
cooking?
together. Both. I also been like together for many years with a guy. He was super good at cooking. He just like now I know he's not vegetarian anymore, but while we were together, like, and actually I was really appreciating it because they would do it for me because they care about they used to care about me. But to me, it's not a big problem. But of course, it would be easier. Like, I don't like to have cooked meat in my apartment, and I don't like to touch meat and stuff like that. So I would prefer like someone similar.
Yeah, right. I think so too. Right, you guys would agree?
The most important is to be in a relationship with a person who's open-minded, because the problem is when you go somewhere and then your partner is complaining about your decisions. Like now we have no place to go to eat together. Like, sorry, but
But you can eat vegan.
you can eat for that one night. We can go together somewhere, and you will find places where there is vegan food and non-vegan food for sure. It's more about organization and just being aware and interested in your partner.
But I think that this will already show that the person is not mature. So I would discuss all the relationship. For sure. Something
Yeah.
wrong in it. There's also, like,
Difference, right? Like my partner, he is Indian and he doesn't eat meat heavily. He presented himself as vegetarian when we met, but I quickly found out he means like he eats chicken, but otherwise he's a vegetarian. But it's not an issue to me because we like never cook meat at home, and it's not something that's like heavily on his diet. But then there's people who eat meat every day. Like my coworker, it's always this like cuts on the bread and these like, what are they called? Pate. It just smells really bad to me. And it's like if I lived with somebody who eats this way, it would be an issue for me because if I like see him cooking meat all the time and just like that's all we, yeah, it would just be triggering, I think. But
I have like one solution, like maybe not solution, but when I'm in a relationship, I have this kind of agreement that in my kitchen, in my fridge, I can have eggs, cheese, and milk for that person. Because on my stove, I will not make meat at all.
100% agree.
It's like
yeah.
no meat in my apartment, never.
I totally agree. Like a cheese and eggs, I'm like, I can accept, but and milk, but a meat, no, yeah.
Is that because because the product itself doesn't look like harmful, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Whereas compared to a body part. Right.
Totally, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
What's your go-to response when someone tells you they could never give up cheese?
Right? I mean, it's individual. Like, maybe they genuinely cannot. Maybe they just love it so much and that's all right. I don't know. I mean, it's their life. It's their choices. Like, I never believe that we are going to convince the whole world to go vegan. I just somehow feel like we need to balance out for the people who are not doing that. Almost, but yeah.
I think it's important to know who you're talking to first. So I've had that conversation with a few people, but I remember one really sits out in my mind of a woman with a small child, and she didn't know where milk came from, as in cow's milk, but she's a mum.
Like an adult woman.
I think she answered from Walmart.
I don't mean she didn't know it came from a cow. I mean she didn't know why the cow was producing milk.
Oh,
Sorry, I should have
okay.
been more
Okay, but I
specific.
do think that's common somehow, yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird. But I found that weird having a conversation with a mum who's a breastfeeding mum, because she was, just to caveat that, and she didn't understand how that cow produced milk. And as a general rule, like a cow produces milk not because they've had fun, happy families with a bull on their own in the field. They've been artificially inseminated. So
Over and over.
over and over, and that's their life.
I
So-
think it's the same like with meat. People also think the animals just die anyway. I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
So you're thinking we're
Or
just like,
kill.
all these animals were just dying and we luckily like got to eat them. It's
Yeah.
I would like us to talk about the hot takes. Do you think veganism will ever grow mainstream? And what would it take?
So if the world had or a country was 14% vegan with their population, then that is a tipping point. That's big enough group of people to see significant change within, say, farming processes and the way that the media portrayed the diet and the lifestyle. And then you would see maybe a red meat tax, or the ending of production of like leather or wool or something like that. So it doesn't have to be a 50-50 or an 80-20. It can literally be a small minority that's loud enough to make significant change within society.
And I mean, if you think of it, like every cafe is going to have a vegan milk. Like most of them are going to have alternatives for you to have a cake as well or something to eat. So that is making that mainstream by default, in my opinion. So I think veganism is mainstream at this point. Maybe not in every country. Like there's countries where it's definitely more challenging. But I feel like if we're speaking of Denmark in particular, for example, I would say veganism is mainstream here.
Like it's still growing, it's still in a boom. Because, I can see the perspective from 13 years. So there were no many vegan places at all in my country at that point. And then when I was living Poland, in Warsaw, you can find a vegan spot on every corner.
Yeah. Or like every restaurant would start having the options at least.
Yeah.
They would be aware of that. They can make a dish that's vegan.
So basically, what you guys are saying is like it depends on the country where you find yourself, right?
In Denmark, in comparison to, for example, Czech Republic, like it's not as separated. Like people here do choose a lot of like balanced diet because the government's pushing it a lot. And so like people would eat legumes. And in Czech Republic, like unless you are seeking healthier and meat alternative options, you wouldn't necessarily eat legumes. You wouldn't eat just the vegetable food dish. You would always have something in it. And here people go like, it's a balance. They maybe eat meat twice a week. They do choose oat milk in their coffee, even though they're not vegan. which is not really common in Czech Republic. You either are vegan or you aren't. And I think that's actually like a good way to go about it.
What's your opinion on lab-grown meat? Yeah.
I love this topic.
Yeah.
This is an awesome topic. Because so lab-grown meat is when you have a vessel or something that they can take stem cells from a specific animal, say a chicken, and it's a very small amount. Like, I don't know, don't get me wrong, I don't know the weight, but say for instance it could be like the equivalent of like 2 feathers, and they can produce tons of chicken meat from these stem cells. They can replicate the meat exactly, but the difference is that there was no alive chicken, there was no sentient animal.
So you didn't have to like inject or take anything from the chicken, just the feather to get the
Yes,
DNA.
they would have had to have taken something from the chicken. I don't know about the whether that chicken was harmed, but they would have had to have taken something from a live chicken in order to produce. But then when you think about it, you kill a chicken for 2 wings and a breast,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You with lab grown meat, you take 2 feathers from a live chicken and produce, as I think it is right, it's in the tons of chicken breasts and chicken wings. So absolutely, but the only thing is there's such a stigma around that. People still are very funny about that, right? As the future of their food being grown in laboratories.
Because I'm like, who is the target group for this? I think that's like an
Everyone.
interesting conversation. Yes, in a sense, but then I feel like I personally would probably feel strange about eating that meat. I know it's not like accessible and won't be for a long time to a large amount of population, but I think meat eaters would go like, I don't want a lab-grown meat.
Mm-hmm.
Those
But-
particular ones were like, really set in it.
Yeah, but as Domi said, like, you don't need meat. So you can have lab grown meat because it's a choice, but not because you need it, right? So if people are that determined to carry on eating an animal-based diet or an omnivorous diet, then the way that the world is, the sustainability level of producing meat or animal products is so bad, right?
Yeah.
Across the board, that the only alternative, if people in the future are going to want to continue to eat meat, is to have it grown in the lab for them. So
Would be a
100%,
better
yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
as
still
a
not tempting to me.
no, sure, no, but I would never have it either. But
No.
I'm happy to see it happen.
Yeah.
It
Like,
would help
But
a
then-
lot.
But then why would you never have it? Because I feel the same way, but I can't like give you a clear answer. Why is that? Because nothing has been harmed. It tastes just as the vegan
yeah.
meat alternative. So
I
like,
don't,
what is
know
the...
if that's the case. I'm
Okay,
just saying.
I see,
But
yeah.
also, but also like I enjoy the vegan alternatives or
Yeah.
vegetables
Yeah.
based, like
Yeah.
actual plant-based food. Like,
But I
you
love
know.
that we like, there is a research going on here and there is something like this upcoming because I agree with the sustainability. There has to be some like price difference maybe to motivate people to eat lab-grown meat compared to
Yeah.
a normal.
And also, just to add to that as well, like you think about the amount of space. So people love to think that their animals that they eat come from like happy welfare places or high welfare places, happy places, right? Where chickens are roaming around, pigs are roaming around. That's not the case in 90+% of cases.
Is honey vegan?
No.
It's not.
No. Okay. Do you know why? Why is it not?
Because it's an animal product. It comes from bees. So the concept of veganism is that we're taking something that's not meant for us, but it's meant for the animals. So honey has its purpose to bees, and we are just taking that product away and replacing it with, let's say, sugar or syrup. And that's not, that's just not okay.
It's the same as anything that's factory farmed. Bees are also factory farmed, and they die. A lot of them die just to produce honey, and only small amounts of honey. It's not like it's not like they're living their best lives. You know what I mean? They are forced to. They're artificially inseminated like any animal in any industry, and they feel pain because they're animals, and they are forced to produce so much honey in order for us to have that honey, and they don't see any of it as well, or very little of it, right?
Let's move on to another interesting subject, which is lifestyle and activism. How has veganism influenced other parts of your life, like fashion or travel?
To change my diet, I got sensitive to the topic already. So I tried to find substitute for soups, to use cleaning products for the apartment, and I started to look for like healthier and different products, like food products. This like before, to change completely my diet. And of course, of course, I had my period where like I was buying makeup, vegan makeup. I tried to buy vegan shoes, vegan clothes. When like at one point I realized that like it would be like maybe too much. So at the moment I do the best that I can. For example, with clothes, makeup. Like I use vegan shampoo, for example, organic and vegan. But like I need I mean, by my opinion, it's really difficult to like to follow it completely in every aspect of your life. I do my best.
I mean, it can get very overwhelming. I feel like because I turned vegetarian when I was 17, I felt like it was financially as well very overwhelming to, for example, get vegan shoes compared to leather shoes, which is crazy, but it's like that until now almost, if you want to get a good quality. And I think, I still struggle with that. And I know some vegans that would buy leather because they care about the product lasting for a long time. And you can also get a sustainable leather. There's like lots of elements to people just having different perspectives on this. Yeah, I think it's a package. There's lots of waste that goes into like producing vegan products as well. That's just sucks when you can have a pair of shoes that can last for 10 years if you take care of them. So I feel like it's a balance.
There are many people who can ask you every time, like, have another question: what more will you do to become vegan? And there's no answer for that, because we are not born here to make everyone happy. We are here to live our lives, and we are doing our best. So it's more about our everyday life choices. And for example, my veganism went with minimalism. So I'm not buying stuff. I'm really mindful about what I'm buying. I'm not wasting food, because this is the way. Like, if you want to be vegan, like, you need to be more aware of consumption, like in general, like where these fabrics are coming from, for example. Is it sustainable? You can always go to the second hand and buy something because you don't need a new thing. So it's more about, do I really need that?
Can I just add? Because I agree with you, and I had a phase where I was also looking for vegan products only and going to secondhand stores. But I feel like that is a luxury to have the capacity to do that. It's very time consuming to do that. It's very draining to do all this research if you just want to purchase a product. And I feel like maybe we are fortunate enough to do that, but I also haven't always been in a place where I can like go and spend 3 hours going through secondhand stores to find a pair of pants that's actually going to fit me. Yeah.
But this is how ingrained using animal products is in our society, and that's not our fault. It's no one's fault that they decided that leather and wool and products that involve animal testing is on our shelves. It's not our fault. Like, all we can do is just do our best, as everyone's already agreed. We can do our due diligence, or we can help other people around us that, just so you know, like, that toothpaste has been tested on animals. Like, me and my wife do that all the time.
It must be nice.
Yeah, like, I'm quite, very lucky. But it's that. So the baseline at the moment is to use an animal product, but there is an alternative. It also needs to have support from the top down, right? Otherwise, you won't see a decrease in cost for vegan leather, for instance. Vegan leather, by the way, doesn't have to just be plastic. There is vegan leather that is based on apple and pineapple. Would you believe?
Can I add to this?
Yeah.
I like, I don't give in, but I do struggle with how many nice, beautiful options of, for example, leather shoes there are. And then there's like buffalo vegan shoes that are just like, I don't love the design, but that's the availability, like financially. And I guess like financially, because you can find kind of everything. If you can pay 10,000 krona per pair of shoes, you can get them just as you want. But like, I feel like there's one element where I'm like looking forward where that will be in the future, because there's just limits to what you can have as vegan when it comes to, for example, fashion.
Wow. There's a lot to learn in this question. Have you guys ever attended any vegan event? How was your experience?
Oh, I've been to some exhibitions in the past. I remember that a few years ago I went to a big exhibition in Malmö in Sweden, which I think they are a bit more sensitive to the topic. At least I heard that they sell more vegan products compared to
Sweden.
Copenhagen. Yeah, in Sweden, and cheaper. Otherwise, in general, to be honest, it's not really something that I'm looking for. Like when I'm going out for dinner, I mean, I'm undemanding. I like to eat and I want quality and I want to be sure I'm eating something that I like. So normally I try to choose where to go. Of course, I have my favorite restaurants. This doesn't mean they're like completely vegan, but I know that they have vegetarian or vegan option that I like.
We have to share those tips. amongst
Yes,
us.
of course.
Yeah, a few years ago, I participated in Vegan Week in Warsaw because it's a regular thing. It happens every year. And at that time, I was running Airbnb, and one of my guests, she just wrote me like a few months before that I'm gonna come to Warsaw because I want to participate in a Vegan Week marathon because I want to turn vegan. Like this is gonna be my stepping stone to become vegan. Will you join me? And I'm like,
For the marathon.
yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm vegan, but I hate running. So I did that. I took like 15 kilometers run for her just to motivate her to become vegan.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
What
it was amazing.
nice.
all right. What's one thing non-vegans don't understand about this lifestyle?
One thing.
Yeah, let's just name one thing. I know there's a long list. Let's name one. Let's start with you, Matt.
Where the food comes from, a lot of the time.
I have to agree. I think it's the part of like people think they don't care. It's just they don't know. I think if they were forced to watch where the food comes from, they would probably, a big chunk of them, go vegan as well.
I think that first of all, like many people think that they need to eat meat because of proteins. And, or for example, a lot of people think that they need to drink milk because it's healthy. So they are not like educated enough, I think. They don't get enough information. They also receive wrong informations. Like, as I said, there was people at the beginning of my journey that they told me, you're not going to survive. You're going to get sick. And obviously, I'm healthy. I'm fine. So I think that people should get informed, like in a better way, about this diet.
If I can make a suggestion, I think nutrition should be studied in schools, and that would be really helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
Meat eaters,
Yeah.
non-meat eaters.
Or at
like-
least updated in schools, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't feel like it's being taught about at all. At least when I was growing up, we didn't talk about food in school, a part of like how things written, and that was it. Like how do you expose stuff, not really what it is. And
I think we all have food triangles or food plates
Sure,
within
yeah.
our countries, and that's what they teach based
Yeah.
on. But that's
But it's-
based on
Yeah.
100 years ago science, maybe.
but it's the beautiful part about Denmark because you have like as I mentioned, like you have like legumes and all of these things very high up in the very low because that's the biggest chunk. So
Yeah,
very low in the pyramid. Like they really do motivate you to eat healthy, and they put meat and dairy at the very top, almost with sugar and other items to be like minimized in your diet, which is great.
I'd like us to turn our attention to pop culture and trends, right? Which celebrity vegan do you guys admire most?
For me, Rich Roll. Does anyone know Rich Roll? He used to be an ultra marathon, ultra marathoner, American guy. He's been going on his podcast for about 12 years. I managed to catch it to start with about 7 or 8 years ago. He's also sober, and that was a big part of my journey as well, is that I'm also sober. Someone like him has been a massive inspiration for when I first went vegan and then eventually went sober as well. He's an incredibly fit guy. He's in his late 50s. He has incredible conversations on his podcast, not just about veganism and stuff like that, but a lot of stuff about like men's health and women's health as well. And yeah, he's been a huge inspiration for me within this space. Cheers, Rich Roll.
I always look at the music industry. So for me, the oldest vegan, I think, is Moby.
I knew you'd say.
Yeah. Who's just putting himself a lot into vegan animal rights. And
got
super cool, yeah.
Tattoos as well.
And now the girls singing, Ariana Grande and Billie Eilish, they are also putting some impact because, for example, I think it was during Billie Eilish concert that she decided there is a lot of vegan food for her audience, so they can try it and they can just see what it is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know they're vegan.
Yeah.
I think I like Miley Cyrus. I was Hannah Montana fan growing up. And I know she was vegan for a long time. And that's really the only person I knew was vegan. And I was really disappointed with her. Yeah, just her message after that. I find it really hard to believe that she had to go back to eating meat. It's just interesting. But yeah.
But there are many celebrities vegan that people don't even know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the point is that many women are admiring the other women celebrities because they are so good looking and pretty, and they think that these are cosmetics. And the point is that they are just taking care of their nutrition for a lifetime. So maybe take a look what they have on their plate before you're going to buy a new cream for your face.
What's a vegan trend or product that's totally overrated?
There are vegan products. I don't know about here, but in the UK, there are vegan products that are labeled vegan that are not cruelty free. And it blows my mind that they are not in the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I think they'd probably be the same here. They use vegan
Labels?
ingredients, right? And they're certified vegan. But along the process, they were using animals to test those products, which is crazy, right? So now in the UK, I haven't been here long enough to know that much, but in order to, you can be a vegan, you can have a vegan product, say like a shampoo, but you also have to have the other label of the cruelty-free label now.
I like the Body Shop. They sell vegan products, but they are tested on animals.
Okay.
Through L'Oreal.
Yeah, L'Oreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think there's a Body Shop here in Denmark. I'm not sure if it's the same Body Shop in the UK, but the one in the UK is
it's
very
a big
good.
chain. Yeah,
Is it?
it's
Oh,
the
okay.
same. Yeah.
I don't know enough then. Yeah. But, and also just, I was in Bilka the other day trying to find, what was it? Again, just quickly looking to see if like, it was maybe like a toilet cleaner or something. And I was like, I have no idea. I'm in Denmark. And, you know, there's nothing online to tell me whether this product was vegan or not. So what can you do? You need to clean your toilet.
If you could create your own vegan product, right? What would you create? Or your own brand?
It's not about creating, it's about availability. Because, for example, I know 2 companies that are in United States, and I would love to try their products. First one is Rind cheese, and they are making aged cheese that looked so good. Like, I'm telling you, I was trying a lot of aged vegan cheese through all those years, and that one is like, this should be the right one. And another brand that's only in the United States is called Yo Egg, and they are creating the poché egg that when you cut it, it's melting.
Is it
For
tasty as well?
I get no idea. I'm just seeing this
amazing.
Looks
product.
tasty.
I'm like, I would love to try it. You know, I know how to make the egg flavor, so it's not a big point. The more is about texture and how to get it in Europe.
Cheese brand was called?
Rind cheese.
Oh, it's called red cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Never heard of that.
And also, you'd be so surprised how many things are actually vegan. Like, I feel like that's what I come across all the time. Like, the other day, my coworker was going to bake a pie with a store-bought butter dough. It has the word butter in it. There's no butter in it. I know she doesn't know, right? She's like, I'm sorry, I can't get it vegan. I'm like, it's vegan. And she's like, no way. And it was vegan. And it's just like, people don't know. Or when it comes to bread, like bread is naturally almost always vegan. People just don't know that. They're like, sorry, they didn't have any vegan bread. I'm like, this is a vegan
I
bread.
love it.
Yeah. In this country, the bread quality is so good that
Mm,
they don't include like milk powder in them.
no.
Whereas if you go to other maybe parts of Europe, some lower quality products elsewhere in the world for bread, for instance, would use milk powder. But you know, like here, we're blessed that we have good quality bread that we don't
Yeah.
use milk powder, so it's good.
I'd also love if there was like a cream cheese in the grocery stores that's not like oil or coconut fat based, more like nutritional, I guess. Like some of these products, they're just very like fat heavy and not actually very good nutritionally. So I wish there was like more of these products that are, I guess, like more protein rich. And yeah, does it make sense? Mm.
I
Yeah, I
can give
agree
you a
with that,
recipe
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Protein powder.
Before we close, I'd like us to discuss about the future vision, right? What's your hope for the future of the vegan movement?
Well, we've actually touched on it once, talking about lab-grown meat. I think that has to be a priority
Mhm.
because not enough people are changing the way they eat or the way they purchase products quick enough from a sustainability and environmental standpoint, not just for my belief, which is for animal cruelty perspective. So for me, I think that's key for more governments around the world to put money into that and grow that economy, grow that industry, so that you can see a transition from.
I would start from forbidding fishing because we just need to fix the oceans first.
Mm.
No more fishing. So there's gonna be a war with the economy.
Fish alternatives, and in my restaurants, I'm gonna have vegan salmon fillet very next week,
Wow.
Karen?
and it's made out of soy. It has the same texture, similar flavor because I tried it already. So why not try the new things and just stop killing all the fish in the ocean that try to rescue the earth?
This new thing you're trying with the vegan salmon fillet, does it have like all of the nutrients as a normal salmon?
Even more, I would say. Because how salmon is produced on the farms. So the conditions are not great all the time. And maybe your salmon on a plate is super pink or super orange. I don't know how to describe this color, but it's just the coloring that was added after the death. So are you sure that your salmon, like the real one, is the good one for your nutrition?
I actually
don't
heard
think
that
so.
salmon is like very rich in some, I don't want to say the wrong thing, some metals.
Yeah.
What is it? Do you
So
know?
any eating fish contain more like levels of mercury
Mm.
because they're higher up the food chain.
Yeah.
So if we eat a vegetarian fish, like a tilapia, then you get less potential of poisoning from heavy metals like mercury. But tilapia is not that farmed. It's not farmed that much because the taste choices from people prefers eating fish like salmon or tuna.
So if you could tell your pre-vegan self one thing, what would it be?
You can get protein from plants.
That's a good one. That's I feel like that's a good one.
Like I feel like at the time when I turned vegan, I didn't really know why do I need protein. I didn't think about nutrition, so that wouldn't help. I would maybe just be like, yeah, just educate yourself more and faster, especially with the nutritional part. I wanted to add to the question that we had before that. I feel like I'm very skeptical because as the economy is rising in China and India, people are starting to consume more meat. I find it really fearful because like even though we are reducing the consumption of meat in Western countries, it's rising in the countries where there's the most of the population, and they're just not gonna cut on it. They feel like this is their time to get the nutrition as well. So I actually don't think that the world would turn more vegan. I think it's gonna go the opposite direction, and it's gonna be catastrophic.
Yeah, there's so the UK are also big exports of pork, and even though less pork is being consumed in the UK, we're producing more pork because it's being exported to places like India and China now.
Mm.
Besides everything that you prepare by yourself, Are you 100% certain that these company products that you buy, maybe like from the vegan shops or wherever, are like 100% vegan? Everything from scratch, from A to Z, was made with vegan products?
Well, they wouldn't be able to advertise it unless it was. But if you're saying like we're buying from, say, a supermarket and they also have meat products, then that's just the limitations that we have, right? That's just the world we live in. Like it's cheaper to go to the supermarket than it is to buy a piece of land and grow all of your own food. It's just the way it is, right? So
I feel like
Yeah,
in the
but
supermarkets, yes. I think in restaurants, it's questionable. Like I personally worked in a place where they would like put a little bit of milk in the curry, but still call it vegan.
Yeah, right. That's the reason why I asked the question. Yeah.
Stuff working and they don't know what
that milk
vegan
is not
means.
vegan.
Yeah, they know the recipe, but then in their head, oh, they would naturally put milk there, so they just put a little bit to like make it that way, and they didn't know until I came there and I taught them because
Yeah.
like nobody questioned it.
because from an allergens perspective, if someone was to have like an issue, that is like that place gets shut down and those people go to
100%, yeah.
prison.
Yeah, and about those vegan products, if I'm sure they are vegan, of course, there are vegan companies creating vegan products for vegans. But also, we have companies in this world that they are creating meat products, but they want to earn money from vegans.
Yeah.
So we just need to be aware which companies are working like that. About products I'm using in the restaurant, they are vegan. I have even like all the wines in the fridge are labeled vegan. Like we are really aware of it and we want it this way.
So do you think that, for example, Arla, the company that does milk, and then they started to produce their own versions of vegan milk here in Denmark, would you not buy the milk from them because they produce dairy as well?
For a vegan restaurant, no. For myself, I would consider that.
So we're at the end of the show right now. I would like everyone. I would like to give everyone a minute. If you have any final words to say.
The worst that non-vegan think is that like they're gonna get rid of their favorite food from flavor. But actually is not. Because to eat vegan is still really tasty. You can play with a lot of like ingredients, recipes. It's just like if you don't know what to do, what to cook, it's just lack of fantasy, of creativity. You can be really creative. So it's like a habit that maybe it's just get out of the comfort zone. Maybe just try it out and see how it works.
All right, let's move to Miss. Miss. Yeah.
Thank you for having us here.
You're welcome.
It was really important to say something about vegan subjects. What can I say? Like, if there are people who would like to see what veganism is, don't be afraid of that. And don't push yourself because the vegan community is super various. And you can find, I call it plastic vegans that are buying from Temu or something else. There are street food vegans, there are healthy vegans, there are fit vegans. So there's always a space for you if you want to try. Of course, you can find some inspirations on my Instagram profile because I'm traveling around Europe. I'm visiting all the capitals and I'm checking out the vegan market and I'm just saying something about it.
Nice.
So,
Good to
Nice,
know.
man.
Awesome. That's a great point.
I think the first thing, if you don't agree with something, then vote with your wallet. If you don't like the way that meat is produced, it's because that's like your feeling, right? Don't pay for it. Find an alternative.
A lot of people think when on the packaging it says can contain milk or like peanuts, it means that there's milk in the product, and that isn't the truth. And I think that stops a lot of people from like finding vegan products. They feel like, okay, there's nothing vegan because it all says can contain milk, which basically just means it's been produced in the same company of factory as a dairy. So I feel like that's a good information that people should have.
Yeah, right. True. Yeah.
I was going to say that we live in a time now where we have so much information, it can become very overwhelming. It's a thing where you can have all of the knowledge, but it's because you're gathering information from all sides. But ultimately, clarity is power. If you're able to sift through, I don't want to swear, but the rubbish, you can find good science and people living their best lives living this lifestyle that don't pay for this for the things that are happening, like animal cruelty and farming and stuff like that. So you might come across people saying that veganism is shrinking, or people that live a vegan lifestyle are not healthy. But you will also find a hell of a lot more people that are living a vegan lifestyle and thriving. And I think that's important to share, because it just seems like at the moment there seems to be a shift on social media and places like that that the rhetoric is that veganism is shrinking, and it's definitely not. Like, we've all been vegan for a long time and we've seen it grow.
We are at the end of our show, guys. Like I said earlier on the very first point of the show, the reason why we invited these 4 amazing people who are all vegans is because we want to have some insights, we want to have some experiences, we want to have a better understanding for those who want to embrace this lifestyle, right? We hope you did learn something today. This was a non-judgmental platform. It's all about sharing information and all about learning. It's been the Chicha Show. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.